Right then, Jeffrey asked me to show him how I do my windows and doors. Well, there's no great secret really. You just need some card. Ideal would be a Christmas card like we did with the roof of Abbott's Mead. You then get your building. Now this is a scrap bit of plywood that I had. What I've done, I've coated it with 2mm of Das clay. Cut out a window and then cut out the door. That's basically it really in the cutting out. But what you need to do is put your card behind the window, draw in roughly where your bits are going to be and where you want your cross members, and then carefully cut them out. And once you've cut them out, you should have something that looks like this. And what we do then is we glaze it with a bit of plastic card glazing on the back, just a few spots of super glue smeared over. There's a few marks on this one. As I said, I'm just giving you an idea of what I do. And then that goes on behind with the glazing on the inside, and you line it up to where you want it to be, i.e. somewhere like there, and then you just press it and you've got your window. But there's also, you need to cut a door out. So what I do with a door, you there mark it out again and cut two pieces out, and you actually scribe the panels and then laminate them together. Couple of coats of green acrylic, and voila, you have your door. It all looks a bit plain if you just have it like that. You know, that just looks a bit boring. So what we need to do is add details, i.e. lintels, windowsills, curbstones, and just general things like that. So I'll show you how I do that. First of all, you need a straight edge. So you work out, I very rarely measure anything because I always come unstuck. I tend to do a lot of freestyle. So there's your top of your lintels, and you're going to want it to stick out about that far on the window, probably that far on the door. Then just marry them up. As you see, that's what you want, but then again you still need to go further. So what I tend to do now, using a straight edge, with a very sharp knife, is actually scribe now where you want this to go. You can do nice deep scribes, you're not going to hurt anything. I normally give it 2 pressured ones. Turn them around. Get them married up. And the downstrokes I normally do freehand. You hold it nice and steady there and just scribe with quite a bit of pressure the lintels. You say you don't have to keep to the lines because the age of the building would have been anyway. Then you get some Scotch-Brite. This is wonderful if you can get hold of any. I've tried everywhere. I used to buy it in Sainsbury's, and you can't get hold of it now. And just rub off all the stuff you've done, and you think, oh, I've lost my hole. You get yourself a toothbrush and just brush over it, and you'll find that it gets all the rubbish out. Then I got a file, round file. I've machined to a very sharp point, almost like a dart. And then what I do then is a scribe. You can see all the, but don't worry about going square, because they were never square. Just getting out all the rubbish. You go as long as you want. As I say, the details are endless. but since I discovered this Das clay, I've not looked back. I used to use lots of methods of getting things. I've used plastic card, I've used lots of things, but nothing seems to be as good as this Das clay, because if the more you scribe out, the more you're getting out of it. You can choose any sort of brickwork you want. You're not limited to what the bloke's got in the shop. So as I say, another good thing is a good 4-inch soft paintbrush. I don't know if you can see that on there. It's starting to come out quite good. It sort of brings it all together. But as I said, all you got to do is just keep scribing away. But then when you get to the corners, just tease it round a bit, so you're not actually getting a square finish. I think if everything's all square, you only got to get 1 or 2 that's not square, and it sticks out like a sore thumb. Whereas if you've gone random, no one can say, well, that's not right, that's not right. I say, I've built loads of scratch built models in my time. That's looking pretty good. So just give it, this is wonderful stuff, this Scotch-Brite. I say if you can get it, you want to buy a couple of boxes of it. It's sold in about six sheets, and it's quite expensive. It's probably about nearly £4, but my god, it's brilliant. And don't matter, any times you use it, you can use it on brass. When I'm putting my kits together, you just, before you solder, just rub it over with that and you get a much better adhesion. Right, now we've done that. That looks alright. We put the windows up to it, and yeah, it's starting to look a bit like a building, but there's still more we can do. I.e., we could put cornerstones in it, but as this is just a demonstration, I'm not going to get too elaborate. So what we do with this is we get our straight edge. Now this is a delicate part. Don't put too much pressure on this side, because you will go through and you'll break the plaster away, and that rather deflates you. I've done that so many times. You know, you concentrate on the windows and you get it all looking really, really good. You think, oh, I'll just do the doors, and you do it and all the plaster falls out. Very upsetting. You can even do it on the windows, give a uniform look. Now we're a bit closer to this window, so we've really got to be a bit more careful on this one. So just light scribes. You don't need nothing too hectic, because believe you me, when that plaster breaks away, although some of the plaster, when it breaks away, does add to the realism. It does look like it's broken away in time. So some of the mistakes can be to your advantage, and they look good. But you can see it's starting to come on. There again, just gently with the old Scotch-Brites, and then start taking, just get your tip of it and just drag it down. Down we go. Nice even strokes, and don't hang about with it. Oh, well, you can see it starting to flake away a little bit there. So just give it a good old brush, and you can see that the bits that do fall out, they do add to the ambience of an old building. As you say, what I tend to do now when we go out for a drive, go out for dinner on Sunday, we go to a place called Marple, which is in Stockport, up here in grim old Manchester. But there are some really nice cottages around, and they all seem to be the same, but they're all different, if you can understand that. Different brick, different types, different roofs. So I tend to go out and just take pictures of different stonework, and this is just a basic end of a building. It could even be a station building, could be anything, but it does tend to come to life a little bit with even just that. And to enhance it even more, if you take a piece of plywood, this is that 2mm plywood, which is a brilliant discovery I came across. Just form yourself. The more cuts you do, or the more passes you do with the blade at a gentle pressure, you'll get a much better cut. If you try and cut it in one, it buckles up and splits up. So there's your windowsill, looks about right. So this is another thing you really ought to get hold of, is some power bond. Not super glue. It is a super glue, but it's called power bond, and it's 806. You type it into eBay, and there's a guy selling 3 of these 20-gram bottles for £10, including postage. I'll tell you what, it'd be the best thing you ever bought. It is absolutely wonderful. Not just saying that, but it is. So you just put a little bit on the bottom there. And the good thing about it is you don't have to quickly put the top on. I can leave this here for 5 minutes. And the good thing about it is you actually place it where you want it, but it won't stick straight away. It lets you think about it, where you want to put it. And when I'm happy that that's where I want it, you then press it. And when you press it, make sure you ain't got none on your fingers, because that will happen. You won't get nothing out of it. So then you can replace the bottle. As I said, it's fantastic. And I've built most of Andy's Strabotic signal box with this, and that's how much I've used. Talking of Andy's Strabotic, we'll be getting back to that later on. But that's basically what you see. You can just chamfer off those edges a little bit, give it a little bit of thing. You can even gouge into it to give it that aged effect. But what we do then is we just get that power bond again, and we just have 4 little blobs. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you don't have to rush to put that together. Like super glue, it goes off in seconds. This is absolutely brilliant. So what you do is you get it weighted up with the plastic on the inside. 2 fingers, just ease it where you want it to go. You can even move it around. When you're happy where it's where you want, then just press it. And voila, you've got a thingy bob. And then I'll say with the door, I don't know where I put the door now. Where have I put the door? Oh, there it is. With the door, get your power bond again. 1, 2, 3, 4, a little bit in the middle. Turn it on where you want it. There you go, whatever, that way up. Put that in there like so. A little hold, a little press, voila, done. And there is Georgie Key's way of doing what I've done for years. Obviously you can get a lot more elaborate. You can even then think, oh well, that's turned out pretty good. I'll start scribing some stone in there. So you can start putting, always when you're on this edge, never work towards that, because you'll pull it off, believe you me. So we wanted to put some stonework on there. You just scribe. As I said, I'm not looking at anything. I'm just giving you an idea of what normally I would draw it all out and work out what I want. And then you can start putting some bricks into it, any old way you want to do it. But I strongly recommend you have a go at this dash stuff, because it is good. Try and get some, because that, I don't know what it does, but that's gone in there now. And I say it looked really rough just now, but you can see a difference that's made. As I say, just get your little painting tool and just take out a little bit. As I said, I'll try not to be too uniform with the measurements. Just like to try and make it just look realistic. The only trouble is it's very messy, very dusty. It's amazing. You think that's the dust on there, but it goes. It's all over my computer and all over me bits and pieces. It's a right pain. But as you can see, you're held back by your own limitations. But that's basically how we did it.